about sanding machines, this is what's known as an oscillating spindle sander. It has different diameter spindles that can be replaced inside of here. Basically what it is it turns around and it oscillates up and down. You can see that it has various size spindles depending on the diameter or the radius or the size of the circle that you're trying to sand on the inside. This is a machine that is designed to sand the inside of curves, like you can see here, and the inside of circles. Now anytime you are about to do an operation such as this, where you sand the inside of a circle with a piece of equipment that goes up and down and spins, you must check with your instructor to make sure that you have everything set up and that he has agreed to allow you to do this. This is a dangerous operation, even though it doesn't seem like it might be. What can happen is when you are sanding something like this, the inside of a circle, and you let go of this for a minute, this can actually lift into a helicopter type action and then fling off and go across the room. Okay, so if you must sand the inside of a circle for a speaker or for a light or for whatever, make sure you check with your instructor and have his or her permission prior to doing this. You want to start with the piece of equipment with it over the hole, make sure that you have enough clearance there. And if it was a tight hole, for let's say, and you were worried about this gravity, then you might want to take a clamp and clamp it down on both sides so it doesn't run the risk of grabbing it and throwing it off. We have plenty of room here, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, like I said, this is meant for doing inside radiuses. Outside radiuses, we'd want to use a different type of machine, and that machine is called a disc sander. This disc sander is a 20-inch disc sander, okay, and you notice it spins in one direction. I'll turn it on briefly, okay, and you can see that it turns in one direction. Now, it wouldn't make good sense for me to sand on the upside of this because the work would just basically come up off the work deck and be thrown up into the air. Whereas if I did want to sand, I'd want to sand on the downside of it. Now I can hold it there, and the physics of this wheel spinning down is keeping this flat against the table. Again, notice I've got this marked, and notice I have the direction of the rotation clearly marked here. You wouldn't want to sand, like I said, here, because it makes it come up. Over here, this piece is tight to the table. I have a 2-second rule on this piece of equipment. And the reason I have that is because this is not a machine that is designed to remove a lot of wood. You want to cut close to your layout line within a 1/16 of an inch and then sand down to the line. You don't want to leave a 1/2 inch of material and use the sanding machine to sand down to your line. You put excessive wear on the sandpaper and you actually get hot spots on here. When you are using this machine, it's a good idea to clean it out every once in a while. I have an abrasive that is used. It's like a rubber abrasive that is used for this. And simply, what this rubber cleaner does is it cleans out all the sawdust between the grits that's on here and allows it to recut. If I didn't clean it out periodically, then heat would build up and basically I would just ruin the workpiece and the sandpaper. So let me demonstrate the 2-second rule one time. Go ahead and put this back here so I always have it there. 1001, 1002. Now I turn it off and I have an outside radius here that I can work with. And you can see that I can sand plenty of material here. I don't give it a hard, heavy touch. I just give it a nice, light touch. Okay. And notice that I'm not staying in one spot. If I can at all help it, I want to move it. And you can see that it's sanding a nice edge here, and I don't need this thing running full bore. Okay? It saves the machine, it saves the sandpaper, and it saves your project. One of the worst things for this, the hardest thing to sand is end grain, of course, because of all the soda straws. And if you keep the end grain in one spot too long and you apply too much pressure, you create friction, and ultimately it will burn the product. Okay? Now this is plywood, so it's probably not going to happen, but what I'll do is I'll get you a piece of ingrain and demonstrate that. Okay, here's that piece that I just got done routing a minute ago. Set this over here. And it does have ingrain. These are those soda straws. Now, if I place this here and I give it too much pressure, you can see how quickly that created a burn mark. Okay, those are very, very difficult to sand out. Had I been a little bit more patient and moved it gently across this, I can remove any material that I need to remove, and I remove that burn mark. I put less wear and tear on the wood, less wear and tear on the sandpaper, and it lasts a lot longer. Now, when you're done with this machine, it does have a brake in the back, and you gently just bring it to a complete stop. That's about it. Remember, this is meant to do straight lines, outside radiuses. It would be very difficult to take a machine like this and ever think that you were going to be successful at doing an inside corner, an inside radius. That's why we have an oscillating spindle sander. So, coming back over to here, if I need to sand down to this line, turn it on. And you can see where my layout line is. Okay. And you don't need to remove all the wood in a single pass. You can make multiple passes. And what I was doing there, I was checking to make sure that the curve was fair, that there were no ridges, and there aren't any. So that's a nice fair curve. Now, if I needed to sand the inside of a circle for a speaker or light, or let's say I was really ambitious, I was making a wine rack, and I wanted multiple holes, I would place this over the top. If it was tight, like I said, I would clamp this down so it wouldn't spin out of my hand. But I have plenty of room here. Turn on the machine. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently work from one side to the other. Wait for it to come to a complete stop and bring it out. And again, I fair out the inside. It's pretty good. Not bad for a freehand circle. So, what don't I want to happen here? Well, I don't want to turn this on, okay? Would never turn this on and walk away from it and let go of it while it's spinning, okay? That's a no-no. I run the risk of this grabbing the sandpaper, being lifted off, and thrown across the shop. I also don't use this to remove a bunch of material. Again, I sand down to the line and I cut within a 16th inch of my line. This is a sanding machine, not a cutting machine. Don't mess around with it. Again, watch jewelry, bracelets, watches, long sleeves, hair. Girls and guys with the long hair, watch it, make sure it's back in a ponytail. This is a valuable piece of equipment. And it's not meant to be played with. If you need to change out the spindle, make sure you come and talk to your shop instructor.